So in the past week, I've been giving my beloved shed a complete overhaul, and in this video, I'll be showing you how I got to this point. Hi and welcome back to the shed. I'm JOEBLEEPS, and in this video you'll get to see a daily update of what I was doing over the past week in terms of giving this shed a complete overhaul and making it a much more efficient workspace. You see, in the process of using this as a modding space, a repair space, a making space, a designing space, an editing space, a filming space, in a very, very small space. It's a 6 foot by 7 foot shed, and then I've kind of walled it out as well, which has brought it in further. So it is a very, very small, compact, wonderful little space, but it was getting cluttered and it was getting frustrating. If I needed to find anything, I would have to rummage and climb, and it was awkward to get to things. There were things underneath desks and there were things up in cupboards and shelves, and I couldn't get to them because there were things in the way. And that's even when I knew where the stuff was. Most of the time I was like, I know I have got this thing somewhere, but I cannot remember where, and I have to go rummaging through all sorts of different boxes and things to try and find it. It wasn't an efficient workspace. It wasn't a very enjoyable workspace by that point. And as I mentioned in my video last week, it had got to a point where it wasn't really working anymore, and I needed to take some time out to have a complete rethink of how I use the shed, because I use it very differently now compared to when I first set it up just for doing little bits of mods and repairs and things like that. It's kind of changed its use over time and hasn't really adapted to fit that. So what I wanted to do was really stop and take stock and try and make some changes that would make it a much better workspace. And I think I've got there now. There is still quite a lot to do, but I have definitely got it up to a point now where it is a space that I'm really, really enjoying being in. So to start off with, I had like one side of the shed. As you come in, it was a bit awkward to get in because you had to get past one of my 3D printers, and then my other one was up on top of a coffee table on top of a desk. It sounds ridiculous saying it now. And there was all sorts of storage and drawers. There was a lot that I'd managed to squeeze in there, but it wasn't really that practical. And then over on the other side of the shed, I had my modding space, which also doubled up as kind of like my filming space. So every time I wanted to do some filming, I'd have to move the modding things out of the way, and if I'm halfway through a build, that got a little bit awkward, and yeah, you can see it just wasn't really good use of time. So my plan was to have one half of the shed as like a dedicated workspace for designing and filming and drawing, and then on the other side was more like for my mods, my repairs, my maker space, if you like. So it was like two dedicated areas, and I wanted to make sure that there was a nice bit of space in between for me to think as well. So yeah, so I recorded little snippets throughout each day, and that's what you're going to see here. So how did I get to a workable shed from a cluttered mess? Let's take a look. Okay, so the big 3D printer's been moved out. So that was here, so that's the first step. And inside I'm going to start moving stuff over because the computer's going away from that corner. That's going to end up being on the desk corner here, and this 3D printer is staying in here, but I'm going to relocate the filament up on top, and that is going to be put in this corner if it fits. I don't know, I'm thinking of having that desk largely dedicated to 3D printers. I've got the resin one there already. So first job is move the computer out of the way over here to make some space. Okay, so the next thing to go is this table, but let's just see where we're up to. So the 3D printer that was on the table here, the table's gone. The 3D printer has moved over to this corner, and that's going to have the resin one next to it, and there's room for me toolbox at the end, so I should be able to work something out with that. And in fact, this printer can go a little bit further back if I get a right angled power cable for it. Computer's not staying there, that's going to still be my workspace. So the computer is ultimately going to be on this table. All this storage up here is going out of the way, that's going to be more over here. So the last thing for today is that this table is going, and yeah, then it's time to get a few more bits of furniture and start sorting everything out. Okay, so I've had a bit of an Ikea trip and time to start building. Right, shelves are up, so time to clear out all this space now. It's going to be a while. Right, so yeah, this is where these storage boxes I got in Ikea are hopefully going to come in handy. Let's see. Much better. Right, so that's all that clear. I mean, I could keep this desk, it's fine, but I wanted the nice wooden coloured one just to mix things up a bit, which means I've got to move all these drawers out now. Okay, so drawers are out, this is coming out. I'll probably leave everything under there for now, and these are going to have to come off the wall because this is where the shelves are going. Right, so that is now all clear. I've had a bit of a hoover, and it's time to take the legs off that table and put them on this one. New desk in and all levelled, and makes quite a nice change with the wood finish. Worth doing. Right, alright, so the new shelves are kind of sort of in, and they do fit. There's even like a whole few centimetres to go, but when I try and close my door, you can't see, but my handle, yeah, there's an issue. Not massive, we'll deal with it. Right, that'll do for now. So this handle was just a temporary measure when I first built the shed. I was meant to get around to putting a proper handle on, but here we are. That'll do me. So my new shelves are all in, I'm liking them, and now I've got this laptop stand thingy to build that in car. Right, that wasn't too bad, quite nice. Let's see if it fits the computer. I should have measured first, I guess. I did have this set up for my 3D printers, but it's kind of a little in the way at the moment, so I might move it perhaps under the desk, perhaps over there. Let's see. So that's with the computer in. I mean, I'll have to try and figure out a suitable layout, but I'm planning on having this as like my sort of filming, editing, designing kind of workspace, which seems like it's going to be quite nice. I think I won't have room for like my lights on their tripods. But I'll work all that out. It should be a good little space. Let's get all the toolboxes and things back in and underneath and see how we're doing. I've never really been a fan of having this wall mounted. I've not used the drawers as much as I hoped, and it's kind of bowed slightly at the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe if I pop it down there on the desk it might be a bit handier. Possibly over on that desk. Not that there's much room over there. Let's try it here. Okay, time for a bit of a catch-up. Shelves are pretty good in this spot. I've got my desk in position here. I've got the computer on top of the new stand with these drawers just next to it. That seems to fit pretty well. And then over on this side, so I'm planning on getting more of these sort of soundproofing tiles up on here eventually. But below, see these drawers, they were up on top of there and they encroach quite a bit on the desk space, which I've tried to widen out a bit now. So I've rearranged all those and now I've got 4 stacks there with a whole load of mess on the floor. I had some drawers at the front here where I've now got my toolbox and the drawers are under there. I've rearranged, like, this was like, it's so untidy, but this was like 2 separate tables, but I've removed some of the legs and replaced them with like ones in the middle. So yeah, I think I've got the bare bones of it. I've got another set of drawers to try and find some space for somewhere, but I've pretty much got it now. I'm trying to keep the space under there as clear as I can so I can have somewhere to put the chair away, because the chair never really goes under anything, it's always in the way, so I want that to be able to sit like flat against here. So that's going to be like my sort of work and filming space, and that'll be my modding kind of space. So I think I've got the bulk of it in place now. It's just a case of trying to find somewhere to put everything, which is going to be a challenge. So progress so far is pretty good actually. I've started to get more organised under there. I've got a big pile of stuff down there that I've not sorted yet, but I've got these drawers relocated to the side there, which I quite like they're kind of out of the way when I'm sitting at my new desk, which is a bit wider. Hello, Chewy. And those boxes, they're not staying there, but that's going to be like a slightly bigger space. But I've got these little drawers there. I've got my computer on there, this little stand where I can have my keyboard and mouse. Got these new shelves, which are really useful and don't stick out too much, you know, like when I'm coming into the shed. Hello. It's a much nicer open space to come in than I had before. And then my workspace obviously has got stuff piled high on it, but that's gonna still be a decent workspace. I'm gonna keep the shadow board and things at the back there. 3D printers at the moment are over here. I'm not sure, I might swap the ender to the other side of the bench, so I've got a bit more of an open workspace, but that's I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, when I've cleared all this stuff. So far so good, I'm quite happy with it. New day, so a bit of progress. This desk, I've now got the computer plugged in and set up. I've done a little bit of organising and arranging around here. It's feeling like a good little space, I like it. I've done a little bit of rejigging with the shelves. I'm still working out what's going to go on those. I'm liking the storage down there. It does make it harder for me to turn my chair around, but the fact that I can get my chair all the way under the desk is making life so much easier. So obviously next I've got all of this. I need to find a home for everything, or I need to have a bit of a clear out and some stuff's going to need to go. So yeah, that's next, and then I'll work out how I'm going to set up my 3D print area. But yeah, I'm quite liking where we're at so far. It's good, isn't it? Well, it took me about 20 minutes because I couldn't find my proper hacksaw, so I did the whole thing with a junior hacksaw, but I've just chopped the edge off this leg from this bench so that I can have it further over to one side and we can get this toolbox in and out, so let's hope that works. Okay, so you can see it's in place now. It's right up against the wall there, and the toolbox comes through the gap nicely. I've also taken the opportunity to move this leg further in, so when I'm swinging my chair around, there's more clearance for my knee, so that should be less painful. Starting on the outside today, starting off with the door, so fixtures and fittings removed. Let's get going. It's all done. Well, first coat anyway, looks nice. I was going for grey, but I've ended up with green because I'm colourblind when I'm choosing paints. I think the black across the top looks quite nice. Goes nicely with the gutters. Looks pretty good. It's got a nice sort of Castle Grayskull vibe, don't you think? The painting outside today, I've not got much done inside, but I've fitted this adjustable ring light above the computer and squeezed those two foam pads behind it, and I've moved Mario, so if that counts for progress. It's Thursday and I've been to Ikea again just to try and help sort out this last stretch of storage and try and get it a bit more organised. I got more of those black boxes with the lids because they were really good, and some magazine files. And while I was going around, I discovered these, which is a new thing they brought out called Vattenrag. I know, Vattentrag, to pronounce it a bit more accurately. It's kind of like a shoebox with a hinged lid, but in terms of how well they fit on these shelves, it's like perfect on its side, or I could like stack them. They're really good. So yeah, I got 10 of them, so I should be able to get these shelves looking a little less higgledy-piggledy. Okay, so it's Thursday afternoon. I have got countless boxes that look kind of like this, and I'm sorting through everything. But check this out, those new Ikea boxes, they fit 14 DMG shells in pretty much perfectly, so that's kind of handy because I do have a lot of those shells. Okay, so these boxes are so good and such a good fit that they're actually better than the black ones I bought, so I'm off back to Ikea again. I'm going to get more of them and take the black ones like that back because these are just a revelation. What have I got in this one? Game Boy bits everywhere. Alright, so close of play Thursday. It's looking messier than it was before, but it is getting more organised. I'm starting to work out like what's going where in which drawers. Spent ages rummaging through different boxes. These boxes from Ikea are awesome. They fit kind of, if only the shelves were just that touch wider and I could get them side by side, but still 5 in a space is good. Got them all like labelled up so I know what's in which. And my label maker has just decided to stop working, so I'm going to have to fix that or get a new one, and it's maybe telling me it's time to call it a day. So yeah, it's going pretty well, So it's Friday afternoon and we're pretty much done for the week. Let's take a look. This is my new workspace. Pretty good. Lots to go through. So first and foremost, I was finding it a really frustrating, inefficient space to work in. So now I've got 2 distinct work areas. I've got my kind of modding and making workspace, and I've also got my kind of designing and filming kind of workspace over here. And I did previously have loads of storage like down on the floors and underneath the desks. Now I have still got storage underneath, but that's got a lot more organised. Like under here I've got like toolboxes and drawers. The drawers are on wheels so they can pull out when need be. I've moved this sort of 3-story toolbox nearer the front, so a lot of my like long-term storage stuff is in here. This is like my main go-to toolbox for when I'm modding and making. So that's got all of the tools that I'll need in a pinch, and then other things I'll need less frequently are in the other toolboxes. I've got my kind of 3D printing space in the corner here. Time will tell how practical that is, but this piece has been printing all day here today, and it's been quite nice and neat and out of the way. And although I've been moving around a lot, I've not bumped into it, which is definitely a plus. I've kept my shadow board, added a few bits and pieces to it, and rearranged the tools that are sitting on the desk. It's a really nice space, and I know where everything is, and I know where to find everything too. Soldering stuff over in this corner. I've moved my drawers that were up on top of here down to the middle, which does make it a little awkward to get the chair out, but I've got a little doggy space down there as well for when I've got 4-legged friends in here. But yeah, so this chair now fits all the way under, which makes it much easier to walk in, move around, reach, sort things and so on. But it will move out and around and go under the other desk, and it's just the dog bed down there that's stopping it moving in, and that will move well out of the way there, so I can get to these drawers easily. I can get under here. Again, there's enough clearance for me to sit, but I've got like me PLA reels and things like that stored under there. This is my sort of computer drawing kind of filming workspace here. I've yet to test it out properly and do some filming and see if what works, what my positionings are like and so on, but I think it's pretty good. I've been sat at the computer quite a bit and it's been really comfortable. It's been a nice space. I can have the door open so I get plenty of ventilation, or I can close it if it gets a bit drafty, and as a space it's a lot less kind of overbearing. Before I had a lot in the higher sections of the wall and it just felt a bit like it was encroaching too much, so now it's mainly on the lower levels without having too much down on the floor, and I like it a lot. Now this is the main bit of storage and organisation. This is what you don't see really, like for every box so everything is now labelled. So there's like filming stuff, Nintendo, Game Boy Pocket, colour, DMG bits, tools, gadgets, ZedLabz stuff, DS, Wiimotes, 3D printing stuff and so on. These boxes fit really well. They will actually go all on their sides, but some of them, what's in there sits a bit better flat, so the combination of on the side, see on the side they're easier to get to, so it's a bit of a mix. But I mean, look at all that. That is so much stuff. And I've, you know, I was finding it so frustrating because I couldn't find anything. Whereas now, like, if I need to get to rear PCBs from the MGs, there we go. I could not believe, just look at this. I couldn't believe how many I had. These things are so scarce. And there are loads. I need to go through and obviously check each one and see which ones work and see what repairs need to be made. But plenty of inspiration really from finding loads of this stuff. Just inspiration for upcoming projects and things that I can do. Aside from those, I've got these two boxes as well for my current projects. It stops me from hoarding too much and having too many projects on the go. Like what I'm working on at the moment is limited to what's in there. A little bit of extra storage at the top and a little bit of fun display stuff as well. So yeah. And obviously this toolbox here will sit neatly when it's open or closed. So I think I've shown you everything. So what I do intend to do is two separate other videos. One about setting up a sort of filming editing space on a budget, and one about organising a good kind of modding workspace. So if you've got questions about either of those, ask me in the comments, and yeah, I will do my best to answer them in upcoming videos. But I'm happy with this. But I did say I'd give myself a week. It is Friday afternoon, so I'm gonna set up, do a piece to camera, try that out, and better start editing, hadn't I? So that is it, and there is still work to do. I've still got to test a lot of things out. I want to try and work out what's the best setup for filming and so on. Obviously, I'll be reviewing this footage between you and me. This is the second time I've recorded this because it is warm out here this evening in this shed, and I have my glasses on and they all steamed up and I hadn't noticed until I was watching the footage back. So you've got me without glasses today. But yeah, as a space, I am loving being in here. It is really, really great. I think I'll make a few tweaks and changes as I move forward to try and get it better. I'm looking at getting new kit, but I don't want to spend too much. You know, I do all of this on a budget where I can, particularly in terms of the filming and editing side of things, because yeah, I like getting new tech, but I'd rather spend my money on my gaming stuff and my mods and things like that. So that's what I try and do. This is the first of what I'm planning to do as 3 videos. I'm going to do a follow-up one when I've got my workspace fully set up in terms of the modding over there, and I'm going to take you through the tools and equipment and things I've got and why I've got certain things set up a certain way. And then I'll do another one about my sort of budget filming setup and trying to get decent looking videos on a very, very tight budget, and I'll walk you through that as well in a totally separate video when I've got a bit more done and a few more bits. I want to get like I say, more of the acoustic panels up, and I want to try and work out if I can get lighting on a bit more of a permanent setup, maybe wall mounted, things like that. So more things on the go, but plenty more upcoming. And now I've got a decent workspace, obviously I'm going to be well motivated to get stuck into lots more projects, so more videos coming up for you to watch soon as well. So that is it for now. I hope you found it interesting. If you did and you want to see more like this, then please think about subscribing, signing up for notifications, likes, comments, all that stuff really, really helps me grow this little channel, which just recently reached 6K on the subscriber count. So I am thrilled with that. Thank you very much for everyone who's supported me so far. Speaking of support, shout out to ZedLabz as always. I've got an affiliate link in the description. If you want to get into modding, doing the kind of stuff I do, and you want to buy the right kind of gear, then that is the place to go. Check them out. If you use my affiliate link, I will get a little bit of a kickback to support the channel at no extra cost to you. And if you use the code JOEBLEEPS at the checkout, you'll even save yourself some money. I'll also leave a link for my Amazon storefront if you want to have a mooch through that. There's some interesting stuff on there. And that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been a busy week, a stressful week at times. Sometimes it felt utterly overwhelming with just the amount of stuff I had to contend with, but it was so worth it to be in this space now. I am really feeling good in here, and I hope you enjoyed seeing me getting from A to B. So that's it for now. If you want to keep watching me, there'll be some more videos popping up here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.